Good morning, and welcome to another FasTrax webinar. I'm Cassara, your host for today. I'm a loyalty strategist here at FasTrax Solutions. This morning, we'll be going over how to generate campaign, item, customer, and employee reports in Loyal and Save. We'll talk about where you can access these reports, how to generate them, the filtering options for each report, and how each one can be used to give specific insights on how well the loyalty program is working for your company. FasTrax webinars are a weekly event and happen every Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will go over all aspects of FasTrax software. You can preview and sign up for all upcoming webinars, as well as view all previous webinars by going to our website, goftx.com, and choosing FTX Lifeline at the top of the page. Then scroll halfway down the page and choose the View Webinars button. You can also take the more direct route by typing goftx.com/webinars into your browser. You can sign up ahead of time and watch it stream live, or you can watch any streamed or previously recorded webinar in our archive at your leisure. We, here at FasTrax Solutions, are working hard to build a comprehensive video resource library of webinars, and we encourage you to watch our videos as many times as you'd like. Pause, take breaks, take notes, and absorb them all at your own pace. If you are unfamiliar with Loyal and Save, you can watch our previous webinar videos shown here. If you haven't yet viewed our first webinar on setting up Loyal and Save campaigns and balance types, you can find the recording on goftx.com/webinars. That was the first real introduction to the program where we went over some of the basic settings. Be sure to also check out the last Loyal and Save webinar we did, where we went over how you can set up an employee incentive program within Loyal and Save, how to sign up employees and customers for Loyal and Save, and how the team point system works with and without the use of campaigns. Let's dive right in. To start, I'm going to go to the Control Center, found at controlcenter.fasttraxpos.com. Once logged in, you can go to Loyalty here on the left, then select Reports, and choose which group you would like to see the reports for. We're going to start by going over the variety of campaign reports, found here at the top. As you can see, there are a total of 9 campaign reports: Activity Detail, Activity Summary, an Earnings Report, List of Campaigns, both active and inactive, Campaign Performance, Campaign Progress, Sign-ups from campaigns, Points earned by location, which is particularly helpful if you have more than one store location, and a triggered campaign list. Before we start going over the details of each report, let's go over how you can filter through each one. I am going to use Smoker's Choice as an example. As you can see, when you select a specific report, nothing is automatically generated. This is because you will need to set your parameters first. You can set a start date and an end date. You can select the time frame for which you want to see the data. For this example, I'm going to select the data for the past year to date. You can also select to filter the data by campaign. For demonstrational purposes, I'm not going to select just one campaign. Lastly, you can filter by store locations. You can select just one or multiple. All of your locations will be listed here to the left. I'm going to show you how to select more than one and how to move them over to the selected side. I'm going to scroll through and choose a couple of locations by clicking on the checkbox to the left of the store title. Once you've selected the locations you want, simply click this green arrow button to move the locations over to the selected side. Once you are done, click on Apply. Now that we've gone through the filters, I'm going to generate the report by clicking the Generate Report button here on the top right. Once the report has generated, you can also choose to export it here, either as PDF, Excel document, or CSV file. You can also schedule a report to generate using a specific set of parameters and filters. You can set the report to generate daily, only on weekdays, weekly, or monthly, and at what time you want the report to generate. You can choose which file type you want the report to be sent in, and choose to have it sent to people who have access to the control center, as well as adding additional emails. Now that the report has been generated, let's go over how to read it. Since there was no specific campaign selected, the report will show the data for all of the campaigns that were running for the selected time period. The report is in sections for each campaign and lists the start date, end date, trigger type, and reward type for each campaign. This report starts with the Tobacco Club campaign, which I can see started in the beginning of June and ends on the 30th of this month. The timestamp shows the date the customer utilized the campaign, which store they completed the transaction at, who the customer is, the type of reward issued, in this case it was campaign points, and how many points were earned. The timestamp goes in the order of oldest transaction date to the newest transaction date for each campaign. The activity detail report is especially helpful for comparing how well a specific campaign worked between select stores. You can also easily see if there have been customers who have been taking advantage of the campaign more often than others, and estimate how large their ticket price was by taking notice of how many points they earned. Let's move on to the activity summary report. For this report, I'm going to use the same parameters and filters, so I'm going to go ahead and generate the report. This report summarizes the results of each campaign for the selected time frame. It tells us when the campaign started, when the campaign ends, if it has a trigger type, how many points were earned from the campaign, and if you choose to run the campaign with coupons, how many coupons were printed and redeemed, and at what rate of customers redeemed them. The campaign shown here did not utilize coupons. Therefore, there was no printed, redeemed, or redeem rate shown. The campaign activity summary report is especially useful for comparing how many points each campaign has generated over the selected time frame. This report is generally a summary of the last report we looked at, the activity detail report. Now, let's talk about the campaign earnings report. The campaign earnings report has different filtering options. Here, we can only filter by time period or by only showing a specific campaign. For this example, I'm going to select All Time and Show All. When generated, this report shows the list of campaigns, if they had a trigger type, the reward type, and how many transactions occurred, how much cash was used at the time of the transaction, and how many points were earned from those transactions, as well as how much non-cash transactions were, for example, when a credit or debit card was used as the payment type, and how many points were given out from those transactions. And lastly, the total number of points given out for each campaign. The campaigns are listed in order from oldest to newest. The campaign earnings report is especially helpful for comparing how much money was generated and how many points were given out per campaign. Next up is the campaign list report. The campaign list report is simply a list of all of the current active, ended, and future campaigns. It tells you the start and end date of each campaign, the trigger type, and the reward type. Since this report is pretty simple, I'm going to move on to the campaign performance report. The campaign performance report graphs out how many points were earned per month over the period of a year for all campaigns. With this report, you also have the option to include auto-trigger campaigns and deleted campaigns. For the purpose of this example, I'm not going to include either of these types. This report type makes it easy to compare campaign performance throughout the year and helps identify the slower and busier months. For example, if we look at the Vape Club campaign, we can easily see that customers took advantage of this campaign more often during the summer months than any other month. Looking at the bigger picture, this also holds true for all of the top performing campaigns. Now let's move on to the campaign progress report. This report shows each participating customer's progress towards a certain campaign. Since we don't have any running at this time, let me give you an idea of what type of campaign would qualify for inclusion in this report. Example 1. You are a frequent customer of a local coffee shop that has a punch card. You need to purchase 10 coffees to get 1 free coffee. If the punch card were digital, this report would show your progress towards that free cup of coffee. Example 2. A local grocery store offers a free holiday meal for all major holidays if a customer spends over a certain amount of money within a specific time period. Since it's Christmas time, let's say you needed to have spent $400 since Thanksgiving to earn a free ham. Yay! This report would show you how much money you've spent so far towards earning that free ham. The campaign signups report populates a list of all campaigns. The only filter here is to include auto-trigger campaigns, which for this example, I'm going to exclude. Once generated, this report populates a list of all campaigns, the start and end date of the campaign, how many of your store locations had customers who utilized the campaign, and how many customers had signed up at the time they first utilized the campaign, and how many points were earned overall just from the customers who signed up. The top performing campaigns will be listed at the top, allowing you to easily see which campaigns gave the customer more of an incentive to sign up for Loyal and Save. With this knowledge, you could rerun a campaign that outperformed the others to get more people to sign up in your store. Now, let's move on to the Points Earned by Location report. The Points Earned by Location report populates the list of store locations and puts them in the order of top performing to least performing when it comes to the number of customers who have utilized campaigns. You can filter this report by a specific time frame, as well as which stores you want to see data for. For this example, I'm going to select all time, and I'm not going to filter out by store. This way, I can compare the data for all of the store locations. Once the report generates, you will see the name of the store location, how many customers they have signed up for Loyal and Save, how many sales they have had that are associated with a campaign, the total generated sales, and how many points were added to the customer's balance from the use of campaigns. For privacy purposes, we have blurred the dollar values. However, as a business, you could use the amount displayed in this column and compare it with the total overall sales to see how well the loyalty program is working for your business, and even see which stores are performing better than others. Now I'm going to move on to the triggered campaign list. The last report for campaigns is the triggered campaign list. This report populates a list of campaigns that have been set up using a trigger. For example, the customer's birthday could trigger a week-long campaign for that customer only that will give 5 times the points on all of their purchases. Since our example company does not have any trigger campaigns, we don't have a report to generate. Now, let's move on to the different types of item reports. As you can see, there are 4 different types of item reports available. The customer item, item total earnings, top balance earning and top earning items. The first report I'm going to go over is the customer item report. This report can be filtered by time period, item and UPC number, by customer name, and by store location. It's automatically generated in order of highest sale quantity, but you can also choose to order by ascending or descending sign-up date. This report generates a list of customers and their most purchased item details. It also shows the total sales amount since sign-up for the product listed, the amount of points earned from purchasing that item, and the sign-up date for the customer. The customer item report is especially useful for determining whether to utilize personalized campaigns for specific customers. For example, the person at the top of this list we can see purchased almost 1,000 units of the item listed. This person spent over $14,000 on this item since the sign-up date in March of this year. They have also earned almost 225,000 points from purchasing this product. The next report is the Item Total Earnings Report. This report allows us to see which items are our best sellers and which items may not be moving as well with the use of campaigns. For this example, I will filter by all time, showing all products, and by the top 10 products, and order the report by the highest point total. Once generated, this report will tell me what my top 10 sellers are, how many have been sold, the total sales amount, and how many total points have been given out to customers who purchased the item. I can use this report to generate future campaigns and to see what items may need more of an incentive for the customer to purchase. The next report is very similar to this one. It is the Top Balance Earning Report. You can filter this report by a specific time frame and by how many records you want to show. Once generated, the report will show the item and UPC, the customer's name who purchased the item, the price of the item, and how many points they earned by purchasing that item. This report shows the items that have earned customers the most amount of points in one transaction. These are generally high-ticket items that a very small niche of people will purchase. The last item report is the Top Earnings Report. This report does exactly what the name says it does. It shows us the top earning items based on purchases made by customers who take advantage of the loyalty program. You can filter this report by item, purchases within a specific time frame, and by store location. You can also set it to generate a report for a specific number of top items. I'm going to set the top 10. Once generated, the report tells me what my top earning items are and what campaign was mostly used when purchasing the item. It also shows me how many campaigns the item is included in and how many customers purchased the item, the average amount of points earned for that item, and the total amount of points earned over a specific time period. Let's move on to the different types of customer reports. As you can see, there are 11 different types of customer reports available. These are points by type, activity, balance, enrollment, information alternate, customer information, customer list, purchase frequency, receipts, spending details, and team report. For this webinar, we are not going to go over source campaigns. Just like the campaign filters, you can filter customer reports for a specific time frame and by which location they joined Loyal and Save. What's different is your ability to filter by customer names, at which team level the customer is at, and by either customer or location. For this example, I'm going to choose to filter by all time, showing all customer types at all levels, I'm not going to filter the customers by a specific store, so I'm going to leave the selected stores blank. Now to generate the report. For privacy purposes, we have blurred out the customer's name. The Customer Points by Type report populates a list of all customers who are signed up for Loyal and Save in order of most to least amount of points. The report tells us how many people are in the customer's direct team and the total amount of people on their team, their total amount of points, and how many points are from signups, referrals, or campaigns. The report also tells us the redeemed dollars amount, which is for campaigns with coupons, and if there was any manual change to the customer's balance. If you were using Loyal and Save as an employee incentive program as well, you can see how well each employee was performing using this report. For example, the top 10 people in this report are employees who have signed up hundreds and hundreds of customers each. The next report will be for customer activity. The Customer Activity Report shows a list of transactions within a specific time frame. You can filter this report by store, as well as filter by sales amount and customers with a specified amount of transactions. For privacy purposes, we have blurred out the name, email, and pricing information for each transaction. This report shows the date and time the transaction occurred, which store location processed the transaction, who the cashier was, as well as the receipt number. It also outlines what the customer purchased and how much the item and full transaction was for. This report would be helpful to compare a store's overall transactions versus the number of transactions from customers who utilize the loyalty program. You can also use it to see if people who use the loyalty program have higher ticket prices than customers who do not use the loyalty program. Let's move on to the customer balance report. This report simply tells us the name of the customer, their gender, their email, balance type, and what their total balance is. For privacy purposes, we have blurred out the customer's name and email address. Next up is the Customer Loyalty Enrollment Report. This report tells us the exact day and time each customer signed up for Loyal and Save within a specified time frame, as well as how many total points that customer has. We have blurred out the customer's name and email for this example. The next report we're going to talk about is the Customer Information Alternate Report. This report contains a lot of personal information about each customer, including their first and last name, their email, their phone number, and their mailing address. We have blurred out most of this report for privacy of the customer. In this report, you can also see when each customer's last activity date was, meaning the last time they had a transaction in one of your stores, as well as how much the customer spent overall at any of the store locations. Next up is the Customer Information Report. The other Customer Information Report found here tells us the customer name, email, phone number, how many store locations they have joined, when they joined the loyalty program, and when their last activity date was. Again, for privacy purposes, we have blurred the customer's information. In this report, you can also filter by customer name, customers who have been inactive for X amount of days, and by customers who have agreed to receive texts and/or emails, as well as customers who have shopped at more than one store location. Our next report is very simple. It's the Customer List Report. Because this report is all customer information, I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. The Customer List Report is exactly what the name says it is, a list of all your customers who have joined the loyalty program. The report generates the customer's first and last name, their username, their full address, including street and house number, city, state, and zip code, in different columns. This report makes it easy to export into a CSV file for an email campaign or mailing campaign. Time to move on to a more detailed report. The Customer Purchase Frequency Report. The Customer Purchase Frequency Report can be filtered to show transaction frequency between a specific time period. The customer type, either employees or customers, or both, and the minimum amount of purchases a customer has made on a particular day. For this example, I'm going to filter by all time, all customer types, and a minimum purchase count of 2. For privacy purposes, the customer's information has been blurred out. Once generated, this report shows us the customer's name, their email. If they're an employee, it will display their employee number, how many transactions they had on their worst day, and on what day that occurred. This report is generally great for catching employees who are dishonest. As you can see here, it looks like some employees were using their personal loyalty card to earn points off of customers' purchases instead of signing up the customer with their own loyalty account. This report is in order from the highest number of transactions on the worst day, not by a current state. The next report we will cover is the Customer Receipt Report. This report is very similar to the Customer Activity Report, only in this report, the UPC is available for each item purchased and which department the product was from. It also does not show the overall total for the whole transaction. You can filter this report by a specific time frame and by store location. The next report is very informative. It's the Customer Spending Details Report. This report can be filtered by date range, the total amount spent, and by store location. You can also choose how you want the report to be sorted, either by sales descending or sales ascending. The Spending Details Report shows us the customer's name and email, the most commonly shopped at location, the date they signed up for Loyal and Save, and how much they've spent overall since the day they signed up. This is great for comparing how much loyalty customers spend versus customers who have not joined the loyalty program. The last customer report we'll be going over is the Team Report. The Customer Team Report is fairly simple to read. You can choose to filter by customer types such as employee or customer, and also by date range. You can also choose to show the records for the top 10 up to top 200 customers. It generates the top customers who have had the most people on their team and what level they're on. As you can see, the customers who have the most people on their team are typically employees. If this is true for your report as well, that means the employee incentive program is working for your business. That sums it up for the customer reports. Let's move on to the different types of employee reports. There are only 2 different types, the Employee Point Breakdown and Employee Team Report. You can filter the employee reports to show data within a specific time frame and choose which employee or employees you want to see data for. The Employee Point Breakdown Report is very similar to the Customer Point Breakdown Report. It shows the employee's name, their employee ID number, how many points were earned from their team, how many points were earned without their team, how many total points they have earned, how big their team is, how many sales they have performed, and the total amount of sales in dollars they have made. For privacy purposes, we have blurred some information on this page. This particular report is a great tool for measuring the productivity and performance of your employees when it comes to using Loyal and Save as an employee incentive program. The second employee report is the Employee Team Report. You can filter this report by time frame, employee or employees' names, and what level they are on. The report is in alphabetical order based on the employee's first name. This report will generate a list of employees and the names of the customers they've signed up for Loyal and Save. You can also see what the customer's email is, how deep their team is, and when they signed the customer up. There you have it, all of the reports and their purposes and filters for Loyal and Save. Well, that's all I intended to cover today. I hope you've learned some new things, and I hope it helps you better use Loyal and Save. We covered all of the campaign, item, customer, and employee reports available for Loyal and Save inside the Control Center, and how to use the filtering options for each one. If you have any questions about how to best utilize your Loyal and Save program, you can always email us at info@goftx.com. As a reminder, these FasTrax webinars are weekly events and happen every Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can view all upcoming webinars by heading over to our website, goftx.com, and choosing FTX Lifeline at the top of the page. Then scroll halfway down the page and choose the View Webinars button. You can also take the more direct route by typing goftx.com/webinars into your browser. This will load all of our previous webinars, where you can watch the recordings as well as upcoming webinars with options to sign up for them. I hope everyone has a great weekend and holiday week ahead, and I hope you join us next Friday. Thanks for watching!